Many self-serving narcissists want you dead and your children are born because we are running out of resources. The horror. They cannot think beyond the paper-thin, 1 foot deep surface layer of Earth. Just flip it up or dig deeper when crops stop growing to unlock the abundance of soil fit to grow food. Just look at one river, Hudson, whose daily flow could provide drinking water for more than 500 billion people. 500 billion. Look it up, the amount of daily freshwater discharge from barely one of the 100 biggest rivers could supply necessary water for the entire globe almost 80 times over. Where are we running out of resources? Why is there any doom crisis narrative? Yes, you won't be able to live in the desert, as many now for some ungodly reasons do. Newsflash. Desert wasn't supposed to be habitable in the first place. It is the ingenuity of methods and sheer will that kept humans multiplying in an environment that wasn't suited for them at all. The current and continued existence of people from harsh climates does not, and I repeat it, does not somehow become a responsibility of people living in suitable climates. We aren't obliged to take into Sweden all desert dwellers or anything. It is desert dwellers who are obliged to stop multiplying beyond what the new post-climate change desert can sustain. There are hundreds of millions of people living right at the Sahara's border. This isn't supposed to be a worry for Europeans about how to fit them all into Europe in times of global warming. The current narrative about it is so infested with bizarre virtue signaling and moralizing. Do you think people from the desert give a single fuck about inhabitants of Europe? Why should we care about them? Feminist empathy bullshit. But I digressed enough. In fact, you will be able to live in the desert until Earth's core stops spinning and we all get flung off the surface. But the fear-mongering narrative says otherwise, so I addressed it as true for a couple of sentences. The reality is that desalination plants, nuclear energy, and edible cacti exist. So-called global warming or climate change just won't be a problem anywhere, and anyone with basic knowledge should be able to envision hundreds of solutions to rising or falling temperatures and higher or lower frequency of natural disasters. We all know the solutions, but people pretend to be scared for some reason, not even for themselves, but for poor desert dwellers. Society really makes little sense to me. Back to the topic of abundance. How to create unlimited fertile ground for unlimited food. Flip the surface layer of soil and unearth the abundance of minerals. We are nothing but the flea on the back of the elephant that is Earth. The overwhelming nutrients locked to the bottom of the sea via innumerable years of fish poo and bone would have no problem to support an almost unlimited number of people. And we can totally excavate it all. We have the necessary technology and wealth. Any nation on Earth could build 1,000 pyramids that eclipse the ones made by the Egyptians 5,000 years ago. Yet we are constantly fear-mongered by the prophets of doom about overpopulation and lack of resources. The surface layer of soil has been farmed for thousands of years, but people don't seem to understand that only a little deeper than the blade of plow reaches, there is unlimited fertile grade A earth, where you merely sprinkle a handful of seeds and they grow by themselves. Yes, I know about layers of soil and drainage issues, but I refuse to believe we can't solve those relatively straightforward problems. All that is not even taking into account new tech. Soilless farming, aquafarming, vertical farming, artificially cloned meat. We already totally waste almost 1/3 of all grown food, meaning with current food production we could feed 12 billion people, not just the current 8 billion. Issue of fresh water is simply non-existent, Any of the top 100 rivers could provide fresh water for many times more people than currently alive. Simply build pipelines of water instead of oil, and giant pumps powered by hydroelectric dams right at the said river. Zero waste. All this freshwater discharge into oceans serves no purpose in the ecological cycle as far as I can tell, and remember of all my learned knowledge. Maybe someone can correct me on this, but don't say things like, oh, but my poor salmon, my poor trout, and a certain species of crab. I could not care for a single other organism living on Earth but humanity. All this fresh water goes to waste right in front of people's eyes, yet we are somehow fearmongered about running out of water. Make it make sense. When the water level rises globally due to glaciers melting, simply rebuild the cities 10 kilometers inland. What is actually the problem? You know that those cities were built once already 100 years ago, with the power of man's muscle, and only the power of man's muscles. Maybe also credit some steam locomotive at most. We can rebuild New York in less than a year, a complete one-to-one replica, but 10 kilometers inland. Why should I panic about possible rising sea levels again? We can also wall the entire coast in dams, like in the game Civilization 6. Because the height of the dams will not be required to be very high. The process of rising sea levels will take a decade to gain like 10 centimeters. Yet we are somehow fearmongered about not us, not even our children, but 10 generations ahead drowning. Weak-willed and weak-minded seem to have a lot of room for panic in their brains. First statement. Take bad soil, fertilizers and mud from the bottom of a fish pond and mix it all up to create an unlimited supply of farmable ground. Not to mention soilless growing techniques, edible cacti and aquafarming. Second statement. Any average-sized river discharges daily the amount of water enough for all humans to drink, and most likely overshoots the demand of humanity many times over. There are thousands of rivers wasting water every day. Build pipelines with it to distribute around the arid regions. Third statement. The industrial capacity of all machines and humans on Earth is beyond anything you actually envision. We can build 1,000 steel pyramids a year, build a dozen cities over different continents for 10 million people in mere months, if enough resources get allocated to the project. We can solve all kinds of natural disasters, from having any impact on our lives by simply changing the building code. We can level down mountain ranges with bombs, fill the seas with millions of trucks and cars carrying rocks into them, and clean the deserts using desalinated water. If only the leaders who hold power to activate industry choose so.